Hello, everybody, and welcome to the opening ceremony for the SpyParty Winter Cup 2020. Can you hear me, Track? Cause, oh,
But you're dressed appropriately.
yes, Christmas. I have a Christmas hat. Although we are
seeming to have some
internet troubles
suddenly.
It happens.
Okay, I think we're coming back. I think we're coming back. Cause I can hear you again.
I can hear you again.
Good.
All right.
Well, look, if we have to deprive people of our faces at some point, they'll make do. Somehow, some way, they'll get through it.
Oh, I'm sure.
Except I'm actually important to be on screen a little bit just because
Yeah.
the reason I'm wearing this hat is not only as a festive welcoming to the season, but it is the hat in which all of the names are in and will be drawn from.
Very nice.
Really, my audio is coming through twice.
That's okay.
There's you know what?
Somewhere. So.
Bam. Okay, that should be fixed. I think I accidentally had my audio coming through both the input from my OBS normally and the input from my camera.
Well, like I always say, it wouldn't be one of the official streams if we didn't spend the first minutes fixing the audio. That's just a tradition. It's as much a tradition as any tournament we have.
Yeah. All right. Well, to get into it, we have 40 participants for this year's Winter Cup. Last year it was 32, but now we have 40. So we're gonna have 5 player groups, which we haven't seen before in one of these cup styles. I don't know why I got a ping there. I should be in streamer mode down here. Okay. Everything's going wrong. Okay,
that's fine.
It's fixed.
I don't believe you, but
it is. Everything is fine now. We're all good.
Good.
Okay, so we have 40 people. We're gonna have 8 groups. So 5 people per group. Basic math. And we're gonna be drawing them out of this hat. And in the meantime, we get to talk about the players, the groups, anything. And
yeah.
Before we get to that, we do have prizes this Winter Cup. And
I think they're called presents this time of year.
Oh, that's fair.
Yeah.
But I think we have, let's see, something around $100 in hard cash prizes, as well as a poster and something special from Warning Track here.
Yeah. I haven't decided on exactly the incarnation yet. Something, let's just say, themed to the groups that you're about to announce, which will make sense in a second. And I actually am not going to tell you how I'm going to award it. I'm going to just wait and see. I'm just going to see who does something cool that I like. Who does something interesting, who scores a big upset, who makes it maybe further than expected. And barring any of that, if nobody does anything cool at all, maybe just to the winner. It'll just be up to me at the end of the tournament. You'll get a present from me. You'll like it.
You heard it here first. Impress Warning Track if you want your present. Only one person gets it.
Yep. That's it. There's no criteria. If you just do cool stuff, and your chances are pretty good.
All right. Well, I think that's everything we need to cover immediately right now. If we have more information about, well, the format is we're going to have 8 groups, as I mentioned. Group stages will be the top 2 get out of the groups. So only 2 out of every 5 people will be escaping the groups of death. As well as we'll have the groups themselves will also be seeded into the top 4 and bottom 4 groups by an independent trusted committee, not committee, but like a person we trust in the community to do this kind of thing impartially. So we'll have that will help seed the bracket. So we don't have the bracket quite yet because the bracket will depend on what the groups look like. So That means
I like it. I like that you're
Yeah.
experimenting with this a little bit. It's still kind of, the kind of cup format we all know and love, but with a couple tweaks. The groups are a little bigger, so you have to be above average rather than just top half exactly to get out of your group this time. So it's a little harder per group, maybe, but maybe a little more skill based. And then the seeding and the bracket is really interesting because, as we saw sometimes, like in the previous Summer Cup, sometimes a certain quadrant of the bracket, mine, ends up being ridiculously loaded just randomly, and that adds to the fun too. But I like that some of these other events are kind of toying around with ways to subtly, balance things competitively, and I can't wait to see how it goes.
Yeah, and so the the best part about having these groups be seated after the fact is that we get to name our groups whatever we want, and we'll switch over to that real quick. As you can see, we now have the groups of Dasher, Dancer, Prancer, Comet, Donner, Vixen, Cupid, and Blitzen.
Perfect. Perfect. As soon as it was obvious that there were 8 reindeer and 8 groups, I think it became a no-brainer.
Absolutely, yeah. So,
Oh, and the prize, the present I'm sending will be related to this. Some of you will probably figure it out, but that's okay.
who could possibly anticipate you, Track?
No, I'm so mercurial. Yeah.
And I think that with all of that out of the way, we're actually just ready to kind of just jump on into this.
Put that
Going
hat to
straight
work.
into the drawing, yeah. Put
It's
the
an
hat.
actual sorting hat, people. You've been waiting all your lives, all your young adult lives.
You can't really see because of the lighting, but there are slips. There are a bunch of slips in this hat. So let us begin. The first.
The hat you were wearing?
Oh, yes, the hat I was wearing, of course.
Oh, of course. So there wasn't like a little bit of slay of hand?
Slave. Oh god. Oh god.
Just deal with it. Just
No.
breathe it in.
Chat. He didn't tell me about these jokes beforehand. This is not in the prep work. All right.
No, none at all. Please continue.
The order that we will be drawing these groups in will go Dasher, Dancer, Prancer, Vixen, Comet, Cupid, Donner, and Blitzen in that order, and then it will repeat until all players have been chosen and sorted into groups. So good luck. Hope that Kaylee is not in your group. Actually, he's not in the tournament, so that doesn't stop him from scaring, being Krampus for this
Oh,
year.
I mean, look, he hasn't entered, but Vegas still has him at 3-1.
Oh, God. Okay, all right. Let us begin with the first drawing for the Winter Cup 2020. The first person to be sorted into a group into Dasher. Let us pull this out of the hat. My first slip is in my hand. I'm opening it. I'm going to show it to camera. We got Beanie/Steam, and it's the first person. Oh, it's not focusing, but you can. There we go. Beanie/Steam.
Beanie/Steam. Is this the first competitive event?
Yes, and the thing is, I haven't put /Steam on anybody else. The reason I had to put Beanie/Steam is because we have 2 beanies. We have a beanie from the SpyParty.com website, and we have a beanie who bought it on Steam. So that is our first of a few. We're gonna
welcome,
have,
Beanie.
Yeah, welcome in Beanie. We are gonna put you in Dasher. Bam. Beanie is now in Dasher.
We have the other Beanie watching us in chat.
Yes, we're gonna have to see if we can get the Beanie v Beanie matchup here going. But,
God, I hope so.
All right, group draw number 2. We got my hand in the hat, as you can see, and pull out a slip. It is a slip that is folded over itself, so I cannot see. And our second going into group, our first player going into the group Dancer, our second of the entire tournament. David W.
David W. in Dancer.
David W. It's hard to see because it's not focusing on the flip, but that's okay. David W. is going in Dancer, and David W. is a very skilled participant that we have this year, and have had for a while in the SpyParty community. Probably one of the, maybe the premier flirt pairer in the
Yeah,
game.
and one of the most consistent competitive presences we've had. Just always near the top, always near the mix of whatever playoff and weekend tournaments going on or anything like that. Just always does at least pretty well in my experience.
Yeah, David W. Won the TN tournament, did admirably in bronze last SCL season, which was absolutely stacked. Yes,
Yeah,
bronze
yeah.
was stacked.
David W has
Rio.
one of the highest floors, in my opinion, is that his play almost never dips below a certain level. We have a lot of players who have very high ceilings and very high floors. Their quality of play varies a lot. His is just very steady, one of the highest floors, I think, of any player in the community.
Yeah, and just to reiterate how stacked bronze was last season, we had Rio in second place in bronze, and he made it to gold in the tournament of position afterwards. So that is the context behind this particular pick. Next up, we have Group Prancer, and we're going to be drawing for that.
I wonder if this is the least popular group name here. Maybe
who
Cupid?
knows?
We'll
have to put up a poll after the stream.
I think Comet and Blitzen are going to be the ones everyone wants.
All right.
They sound cool.
Well, I think what the groups everyone wants will be starting to be shaped by how many killers go into each group.
That's a good point. That's a good point.
We have our next pick right now, right here, right now. It is going into Group Prancer, Sped Monkey.
There we go, Sped Monkey, one of our resident lawyers, and I've casted with Sped Monkey a couple of times as well.
Yeah, Sped Monkey did very well in the Summer Cup just recently. That was a very impressive performance. Got out first in their group despite having Diamond player Urand in that group. Very, very strong player. And so we'll see if Sped Monkey can continue that impressive performance going into Winter Cup here. And in the meantime, we're going into Group Vixen.
Yeah, I'm really impressed by Sped Monkey recently, and we'll see if they're a spy for all seasons. Did well in the Summer Cup. How about the Winter Cup? I like to see what someone does when they kind of overperform, quote unquote, like that. Do they follow it up with something strong, sort of solidify that new reputation? We'll see.
Right, and so our first pick for Group Vixen will be... Beanie. No, Beanie versus Beanie matchup in groups. We'll have to see if they can get to the bracket stage against each other, but no.
Shut it down. Shut it down. Reset button. F9. F9. Go to the last quick save. Do it again. Okay. That's fine. Okay. Oh well. Maybe they'll meet somewhere.
And this is also the same thing. Both Beanies. This is their first competition, so
yeah,
we'll see how they can perform.
Why didn't you rig this better? God.
I'm sorry. My sleight of hand is not good enough to look into a hat with my mind.
Yeah. There are ways to rig this, by the way. I just want to point that out.
Oh, of course. Although I would never do that.
No, never.
And now we go on to Comet. Comet is our next group draw. We have drawing out of the hat. We have it. Monopoly Man, an old-time player, a bit, who has been around for quite a while. Not as big of a competitive player, generally speaking, but does join the occasional competition. So we like to see them around.
Very active in the Discord lately, and I get the impression starting to dip their toe into all this a little more. So this might be a nice little warm-up for them.
Yeah. And now we shall go into Cupid.
Cupid.
I think might be the wrong season for Valentine's Day.
Yeah.
But Cupid nonetheless. We have our first pick for Cupid. Here comes. Here begins. Probably the first group of death.
Who we got?
Dowsy.
Well, let me just point out, you know what Cupid does, right? They shoot people. Just saying. Let's check. Yep. All the snipers are going to be in Cupid.
Oh boy, yeah.
All right.
This is.
I was really hoping the group of death would be one of the sillier names. I was really hoping for that, and it's looking good.
All right. Now that we've talked, Dowsy. I don't know. Dowsy feels like he needs no introduction. He dominated SCL4 Challenger. He got into gold by winning first place in SCL5 Silver, and was one of the strongest participants in Summer Cup just recently. Got to finals in Summer Cup 2018.
2018 lost to
Yeah.
Yeesh, yeah. And let's be honest, only didn't win this past year, maybe potentially because they ran into Kaylee a little early and almost won that too. So look, Dowsy's done really, really well in a lot of these competitions.
Yeah,
There's not a whole lot more to say.
he's a killer, and now
Yeah.
no one wants to be put into Cupid.
Nope.
But before we can get to our next pick in Cupid, we have Donner, and our
Donner.
first draw there will be, another potential group of death incoming. It's Noob.
Noob. There we
Yeah.
go.
Oh,
New entrant into
it's so
Diamond.
hard to see. Okay.
Oh.
Yeah,
All right.
Noob is just got into Diamond, as you said, and just got into Diamond not just normally, but absolutely dominated his way into Diamond.
Yeah, yeah. Platinum had a weird mix of experience levels, but all the same, just to do that well at that level, regardless of any other specifics, is really something. And obviously, just the steady rise year over year. Nowhere else to go. But in the meantime, hey, Winter Cup.
Yeah, and in the meantime, hey, Blitzen is our next group, the last before we cycle back around to Dasher with Beanie/Steam. And here we go. The next is going to be Ogle B240, one of our newer players. We have seen them in a couple of competitions before. We saw them in Summer Cup. They didn't get out of groups then, but this is a chance for redemption.
Yeah, I think a little bit of a dark horse. I'm always very interested in players who maybe haven't played a lot competitively, but clearly think about the game a lot, are in the Discord a lot, considering the game. I think those are the players who, as soon as they shake that rust off, can rise really quickly.
Yeah, that is a good way to put it for Ogle B240. And now, as I mentioned, we will be circling back around to Dasher, and we'll see our second participant in Dasher. Pull from the hat. The next slip has on it, oh, the wisest of spy partiers. It's Catnip.
Oh boy, there we go. All right. Yep. Catnip likes to play in the cups in general. Has been a steady presence in the summer cups, and now there's a second cup. This one too. Up against Beanie/Steam.
Yep. So far in that group, Catnip and Beanie/Steam. We'll see next who is ready to participate with David W in Dancer.
Right.
Just a moment. We have Collateral Damage.
All right.
Collateral Damage, another one of the newer players. It's not their first competition. Did they participate in Summer Cup? I'm blanking on. I think they did.
I can't remember offhand. I don't remember them playing, no. But yeah, again, another one of the newer players, and that's one of the things I'm very excited about is to see these newer players kind of thrown into the mix. And I like particularly that the group stages kind of allow them to get their feet wet regardless, and make a little noise and maybe even sneak into the tournament. Whereas a standard bracket tournament, maybe you'd be one and done with a bad seeding, right? So I like that we get to see a lot of new people in this format regardless.
Yeah, that is very, very great. And now we'll see if Sped Monkey can continue his dominance over a group, or if a random killer will come in there and stop his dominance there. In Prancer, our next group to draw for, we got Loris43, another again one of those newer players who has been playing in some competitions recently and has been getting better and better and better. So, no slouch. I think
No.
Loris43 was one of the people in Summer Cup that didn't do too well in their group, but despite that, we were all like, "You're doing like really well for how many games you've got, and just keep at it, and you're gonna be insane sooner or later here." So
Yeah,
we'll see.
and that competitive experience is going to serve them well. Because if they're like anyone else, if they're like me, if they're like you, probably nerve-wracking, even after quite a few of these. And there's really no way to make that better other than just doing it more.
All right, and now we're at Vixen again with our other beanie. We've got Human Kirby. Let's go.
There we go. Yeah.
Human Kirby is a pretty long time player at this point. Joined, I believe, an SCL4 Challenger. Did pretty darn well there, and has been participating in a lot of competitions since then.
Yeah, ended up in Copper last season. did okay, struggled a little bit, but is clearly just trying to kind of get over that hump from like intermediate to like really, really good. That frankly, a lot of players end up hitting. I think that we all hit at one point or another. And here's a prime opportunity to do it here in the Winter Cup.
Yeah. And now the Comet with Monopoly Man already in there. We'll see who pops into that group. It will be the Forgotten One. We're drawing a lot of our newer players. Our veterans are still not here yet. Well, a lot of our veterans still aren't here. We got a couple in there, but the Forgotten One going into Group Comet.
Yeah, well, and so far they're pretty well distributed too. I really like that.
Yeah, the random gods are serving us well today.
Yeah.
As soon as I can put this in Comet, there we go.
RNOMG.
And now we're back to Cupid, which, if you remember Warning Track, has Dowsy in it.
It was minutes ago, but I do remember. Yes, Dowsy and Cupid, and if we're gonna get a group of death, well, Dowsy's gonna need a little help. Let's put it that way. As scary as he is.
Yes. A
group of death.
One man group of death. One man does not make a group of death.
One man group of death is just a killer.
Could our next participant in Group Cupid be the this is shaping up to be a group of death track. We got Max, Edward, Snacks.
Ooh, Max is one of those players who I think might have made the leap, and you know what I mean by that.
Yes.
There's a lot of players who are pretty good, and on a good day they can beat anyone, right? They're beyond that threshold, or they're getting to that threshold. No big deal, right? They can hang. But there's just a little something they're missing sometimes, and then something just clicks for one reason or another, and they get 5 or 10% better, and suddenly they are a threat to win any match. And I think Max could be at that point. So this is already pretty scary. Yeah.
Yeah, Max has an absurd amount of games for how long he's been playing. Pwn Noob in chat saying he's got possibly more than Pwn Noob himself. Speaking of Pwn Noob, we're on to Donner.
Perfect timing. Nice segue.
We have oh no, I think we really have found our second group of death right after Cupid. It's Rio going next into this one.
Rio and Noob. So many O's in this freaking division. God. Okay, yeah. Rio is pretty much like Max in what I just described. Like Rio can hang with anyone on a given day. Just you can't sleep on them. These are the two scariest groups already. Yeah. I mean, geez, if I gotta say, I forgot to mention this just a second ago, but Dowsy was in the group of death in the previous Summer Cup too. He just keeps getting these draws, man.
Look, with my luck, I'm going to get into Cupid because I have never not been in a group with Dowsy in one of these cups. Sample size 2, but still.
That's something. If it happens today, I'm gonna get suspicious, but at least everyone will know it wasn't rigged.
Yeah, thing is, I didn't draw all of them. I just drew the last one, the last Winter Cup. I didn't draw the Summer Cup. But before we get around to seeing if I get into Cupid with Dowsy and Max Edward Snacks, we have Blitzen as our last second person in a group. With Ogle B240, we will have Andy VX.
All right. I think one of the Obsidian fellas, yeah?
Yes, one of the Obsidian players from last SCL season. Very tight band of players, I'll say. I think that in Obsidian, I think there was more friendship among all of the competitors there than any other division.
Because there were so many drops. It was like there was shared trauma, is what it was. It's like we're the ones who survived Obsidian. We're the ones who made it to the end. Yeah, and it was Andy's first first SCL season too. It wasn't one of the challenger class came in after that.
Yeah, that is correct. So now that we have put into Blitzen, we're right back around to Dasher again.
Beanie/Steam and Catnip.
Yes, correct. And with them will be Pafke.
Ooh.
No one wants to see Pafke in their group. No one. It's just you hate to see it if you're Catnip and if you're Beanie. And that's not to say that Catnip and Beanie aren't good, but Pafke is just one of the most consistent players, in my opinion, in the entire community. And that's a high level player, very consistent at that high level.
Yeah,
and
and hit a
that's
new level in the last year or so. Clearly did. Another one of those players that went from good to great very, very quickly, almost overnight. It seemed like. Just, yeah, that's an underrated group already. I think actually.
yeah, catnip is definitely kind of a shark below the waters.
Yeah.
Sometimes in these cups, catnip comes out of groups when you maybe wouldn't expect her to.
There's some upsets certainly historically, and I got it. By the way, these are the two Lithuanian players that we know of in the community. Certainly the two most well-known ones. So they're in the same group, right?
Yeah, the Baltic
That's
group
something.
for Dasher. And
Yeah.
now we're on to Dancer with David W. and Collateral Damage. Our next draw is Basic.
All right. Basic with a Q, mind
Yes,
you.
with a Q. Basic Q.
Basic.
Basic is,
maybe?
you know, has kind of middling performances overall, but still, like, has been surprising in a lot of scenarios before. Hasn't quite gotten the results before yet, but I would not at all be surprised to see Basic get those results now in this Winter Cup. And we will see Basic in Dancer.
In Dancer.
And now back to Prancer with Sped Monkey and Laura S43. Let's dig deep into the hat for this one. Can't let anyone go way down in the in the stem of this thing, unnoticed for the rest of for all time.
Yeah.
With them, we have Paratroopa. And this is interesting because I think Paratroopa and Sped Monkey were in the same group for Summer Cup as well.
Yeah, and they're sort of. I think they're cast together, if I'm not mistaken, too. Kind of sort of part of that whole casting gang a little bit that Dells and Ran were so big on last season, for example.
Yes.
Sort of that the new influx of players that got really into the casting scene and playing all at once. So I think they probably know each other pretty well.
Yeah, I would imagine so, and we will slot a trooper right into Prancer as we move on to Vixen.
I think in terms of game count, Prancer might be one of the smaller divisions so far, but don't let that fool you, of course.
Yes. But we've seen some pretty impressive performances from both Sped Monkey and Paratroopa, and even Laura, who, as we mentioned, did not even, do that well in terms of results, but still looked very good.
And playing a lot, yeah.
All right, into Vixen again with our other beanie and human Kirby. We have, once again, trying to dig deep to the bottom of the hat, Corvus Mallory, back to another one of our newer competitive players. Who I am always excited to see join one of these tournaments. I love it when we just get new people in on these. Keeps the community alive and strong, even if people love this game way too much anyways.
Yeah, and I like the name. I just think that's a cool username, and I want to hear more of it.
Yes, it is.
I want Corvus Mallory to meet Legorv Janine. That's what I want.
Yes.
It will sound like made-up names in like a Star Wars extended universe or something.
Unfortunately, I don't think Legorv is in this this Winter Cup, but maybe in STL or in Summer Cup next year. What do you mean? Did I? All right.
You'll be good. Yep.
Okay.
So we're on to Comet, I think. Monopoly Man and
Legorvin chat. Legorvin chat making me worry that I missed him on the signups or something.
No, probably just taking umbrage at my remark about their unusual.
Don't scare me like that, Legorv. All right. Next up, we got Comet with Monopoly Man and the Forgotten One. Oh, hi. It's me.
You? Yep.
It's me. I did not get placed into the group with Dowsy this time.
No, in fact, you have, again, just in terms of game count, how much that matters is going to be up for everyone to decide. But just in terms of game count, one of the lower ones so far. So.
Yeah, I don't go into any group underestimating anybody.
No.
But, I will admit there is some relief at not having to deal with facing Dowsy again.
That's fair. Fair.
All right.
Now you can breathe. Now it's all going to be breezy.
Yes, everything's fine. My mood has improved. by like
You're just gonna shut the stream down and
50%. Yeah.
email everyone the rest of the results. You're like,
Yeah.
we're good. This is all I
Yeah,
needed
yeah,
to
yeah,
get
yeah.
to.
We don't need the rest of this stream. Half an hour in, we can shut it off.
Yeah.
All right. We're back to Cupid, by the way.
All right.
We were one off of putting me in
Yeah,
that
that's
group.
true. That's true. Yes, if the song were a little different. Yeah.
Of course. Now we will have with joining Dalsey and Max, Edward, Snacks. It is Cameraman.
All
as I
right.
show
Yeah.
the camera.
There we go.
Cameraman.
That's an
Cameraman.
awful lot of games in that freaking division.
Yeah, this is.
Oh boy.
This is shaping up to be scary as hell.
Yeah, Cameraman plays a little less competitively than he used to, but never underestimate the experience, man. A lot of these older players have it in their bones, and they can just kind of fall out of bed and beat you sometimes.
Yeah, yeah, and before we can even finish talking about that group of deaths, we gotta deal with another one because they're right after one another right now. It's the Donna group.
Jeez,
Cupid,
by the way, is up to around 25,000 games now.
Oh my god.
Yeah.
That is quite a few games.
Mm-hmm.
All right, our next participants in Donner, Magic Doer 1, and oh no, I'm so sorry, Magic Doer. Winter Cup is just not your tournament for these groups. Did you know that in the first Winter Cup, Magic Doer had Crazy Kaylee and a Bearar?
Yes, I remember. Yes,
and
that's about 18,000 games now for Group Donner too. So that's for the Donner party, if you will. Yeah, that's. I'm sorry, buddy. It's doable, but it's gonna be tough.
Yeah, absolutely. That is just unfortunate for Magic Doer. Magic Doer last time was in a group with both finalists, and this time he's got Ponub and Rio, who we know are absolutely insane players. That said, Magic Doer is no slouch.
Yeah, it wouldn't shock me at all. Wouldn't shock me at all. If I were the other two, I'd be just as nervous.
Yeah. And now on to Blitzen. We've broken the halfway mark already in terms of these name pulls, but I'm calling this kind of like the halfway mark after we do this one. Blitzen, our halfway mark in Blitzen is going to be Turnout 8.
Ooh, just like Cameraman, same thing. Hasn't always played as much, although Turnout has had more participation in general in the competitive events, and has had middling results, but is capable of just very high-level play sometimes, every now and then. A little bit of an aggro style, very entertaining to watch, very entertaining to cast. Great guy, too. So, yeah, I'd be worried if I were in Blitzen.
Yeah, that it's definitely not an easy group, but none of these are at this point, I believe. And now that we're at the halfway point here, Track, what are you thinking?
I mean, we clearly have two groups standing out. It's Cupid and Donner, back to back, right there. But I'm pleased with the spread. I like that a lot of the newer players are not necessarily pitted against each other. A lot of them, they might have a little trouble winning their groups, for example, but they might find it plausible to finish second and advance out of them. It'll be a challenge, but maybe one that some of them are going to be up to. I think at least one of these new players probably is going to make a little more noise than we're expecting. I like it, and you don't want it too lopsided. You don't want a massively lopsided group of death kind of thing, but you do want a group of death. You want one or two of those.
Yeah.
It's fun. And that's exactly what we have right now. We have a couple scary groups like that, but not so ridiculously stacked with all the absolute favorites that it looks silly, just enough for it to be interesting. And that's what I'm all about as a caster and a viewer.
Yes, interesting matches and interesting groups, more importantly. The one good thing about being in a group of death is that your group will probably be in the upper seed. So if you can make out of that group, you are in a pretty good spot to go far in the bracket.
That's a good point.
That does balance that out just a little bit in terms of the competition. Like you have a hard group, but if you make it out, you are rewarded justly.
Makes sense. Short-term downside, long-term upside, and you're probably going to get your games cast.
Yeah, no kidding. Games in groups of death get cast a lot.
It's fair.
Yeah.
People they like the carnage. It sells.
All right, and we will be going back into our second half of the draw. Back into Dasher with Pofke, Catnip, and Beanie.
Oh, I think we're one big name away from this becoming
another group of death.
Yeah, right. If you get a particularly big one here.
A particular big one? Well, maybe not yet, but this player has been surprising us and doing very, very well, and has been kind of kicking butt where they weren't expected to in the Summer Cup. It's Kuma Kid.
All right, yeah, one of the bears. Yeah, not bad. Kuma means bear in Japanese, I believe, right?
Yes, it does. It does.
Cool.
Kuma
There we
Kid,
go.
one of our newer players, a little bit less fresh than some of the other players in this tournament, but Kuma Kid has been doing very well, has been playing a lot, and just playing them myself, I know they are definitely very, very skilled.
Something refusing to hibernate. On we go.
Yes. Adjust that group a little bit so I have enough room for the last name at the end of it. And yeah, Kuma Kid's scary. Kuma Kid is scary. And hasn't gotten all of the results quite yet. Hasn't beaten, the big, hasn't been any big upsets quite yet to call them like. It's that same thing that you were mentioning earlier, that hump between intermediate and really truly expert level play, and Kuma Kid is definitely working at that hump. Because I just see them playing it a lot, playing SpyParty a lot, playing and getting better, and I am super excited to see them in this group.
Yeah, absent actual game counter competitive results, on your ledger, so to speak, just being around, absorbing it, getting the game in your bones, it creates more upside when you do finally break through.
All right, now we are on to Dancer, David W. Collateral Damage Basic, who will be joining this group. It's gonna be Hunu.
Ooh.
Hunu had their first competitive, I believe Hunu's competitive debut was in the last Winter Cup, or maybe there was SCL4 I'm thinking of.
No, it was the Winter Cup. Yeah, in fact, they were in my group.
Yes, you were in group with Hunu and Howie.
Hunu and Howie, yes. And then went into SCL for season 5 and was placed in bronze. And did so on Sniper, but pretty well on Spy, 40% plus win rate. So definitely got significantly better over the last year, and I'm glad to see them participating.
Yeah, absolutely. I am excited as well as we move on into Prancer. With Sped Monkey, Laura S, and Paratroopa. A familiar group. Wait. Was Laura S in the same group as Sped Monkey and Paratroopa in Summer Cup?
Mm-hmm. Summer Cup? Oh, I don't know about Summer Cup.
I'm pretty sure. I know I shouldn't, but I have to. I have to look this up.
I gotcha. I don't think Laura played in the Summer Cup.
Maybe I'm thinking of a different person than someone.
Yeah, Sped Monkey Falcon hit Iggy into Headhunter.
The Headhunter. Or I could have sworn played in one of these competitions. Anyways, it's still a familiar group, all things considered. I'm thinking of Meg. Yeah, that's right. And Chad is correct. 3 times over.
Yep, supposable Meg. Yeah.
But Laura still in a similar position. Laura's not Laura, maybe. But but before we get into pronunciation of names, that's for the casters when they do the games. Right now, I'm drawing another name for Prancer. It starts with a K and ends with not a Y. It's Cotty.
Oh, okay. Oh, jeez. Ooh, okay. I'm gonna say the same thing I said about Cotty, I think, in the Summer Cup. Cotty got good just all at once.
Also, Cotty feels way too good for how many games they have.
Yeah, it doesn't really make sense. I'm not sure what it is. I think casting the end of Iron last season, and the idea that Cotty's an Iron is hilarious, by the way. And then they kind of entered some more things after that, some of these weekend tournaments, and I actually played on one of the team tournaments with them, and they carried us. Cotty just straight up carried us, MVP of the team. And I thought, wow, okay, so the other stuff wasn't a fluke, right? It feels locked into me now. It feels like they have a new floor, and with it, a much higher ceiling. Cotty, yeah, watch out.
Yeah, now we are back to Vixen with Beanie, Human Kirby, and the coolest name. I'll pull off his hat. the coolest name, Corvus Mallory. We have joining them Hype Super 24.
All right. I don't know anything about them, and I'm looking forward to it. I'm
Yes.
not going to pretend. I could fake my way through it, but I'm not gonna. I don't know anything about them.
Just another one of our newer players who is always, who has been around for a little while. I'm not sure if this is their first competition, but it is one of their first, maybe their first big one.
Yeah, and this is so right now the most experienced player in this division is Human Kirby.
Yeah.
So this could be a very interesting and therefore very competitive division. Even if Kirby kind of runs with it, the battle for second seems wide open already. But
right. Pipe Super was in Summer Cup.
Okay.
So not their first big competition, but in their second.
Well, struggled in it, I think. Yeah. 0-3, right?
They did not get out of groups.
Yeah.
So we'll see if they can do better in this Winter Cup. See if they can do that redemption arc here. Maybe show us up, all of us who have been resting on our laurels during the off season between Summer Cup and Winter Cup and SCL.
Yeah, I like it. There's all these people who played Summer Cup and then move on to Winter. These May-December players.
All right, now we are in with the Comets again, with myself, Monopoly Man, and the Forgotten One. We draw a name, and it is a scary one. Screw Loose.
Ooh, I like it.
Screw Loose pointing out in chat that my mic's far away from my mouth. Thank you, Screw.
Cool. Well, Screw Loose. So you mentioned earlier that Dowsy did very well in Silver. Screw Loose drew them and was right with them neck and neck most of the season in a very difficult Silver division, and just recently lost in overtime at the end of the Redwoods Rumpus tournament to Lazy Bear. Screw Loose's sniper in particular has just taken tremendous strides over the last year. So, yeah, I think you're going to have your hands full.
Yeah, there was once a time I would have called Screw Loose a camper who doesn't say he's a camper, but recently he has truly turned the corner into actual behavioralism. So he, and it's been very good behavioralism too. It's not not any kind of slouch here. Screw Loose is a scary opponent, and that's not a name I wanted to draw out of the hat for that group. But now we're into the group where no one wants their name drawn. It is Dowsy, Max, Edward, Snacks, and Cameraman in Cupid, joined by Jarrell. I believe this is in fact their first competition, which I'm so sorry, Jarrell. I apologize. I really do.
Hi. Well, welcome to SpyParty. Welcome to SpyParty's competitive scene. I'm sorry. That's pretty much all I have to say. It gets better. This is not normal. What might happen to you? Maybe I'm wrong and you'll shock us. But if I'm not, I want you to know you got really bad luck. And it's not supposed to be this hard all the time, just most of the time. So stick it out. Do your best. Maybe you'll shock us. Maybe you'll win a present for it even. But just know that you ended up in a pretty tough position in your first competitive event, and just roll with it.
All right, we are back to the other group of Dazzle Donner with Ponubrio and Magic Doer. Wow. Well.
Yes. So right now there's someone who just didn't hear their name called and breathed a sigh of relief, and now their name's about to come out anyway. That's what's going to happen right now. Right.
And that person's name is Harem.
Okay.
Harem.
Yeah.
Harem
solid.
is one of the newer players again, still, but is a solid player. Has been around for, again, one of those people who are fresh, but not quite so fresh as all that.
Yeah.
Has that competitive experience under their belt, and maybe we can see some upsets from Harem coming up.
Yeah, played in Oak last season, which don't let that fool you. Oka had some really good players in it because there were good players scattered in every division last season for one reason or another. So it's a big ask certainly in that division, but it is doable.
You know, I swear I tested before the stream to make sure all the names could fit in these boxes. But
they don't. they just won't have any extra room. That's all. It's fine.
All right. Blitzin is our next group. It's about to wrap around again, but before we do that, we place a competitor in with Algo B, Andy, and Turnout 8. It's Gabriel.
Okay. Yeah. Gabriel has organized a lot of these weekend tournaments, has played competitively a lot, has been all around the block up and down. And I think this is a really interesting division now.
Yeah, Gabriel is someone who has kind of proclaimed that they will participate in every single SpyParty tournament they possibly can. No exceptions. I think the only time we had an exception during our Spook Fest just recently. Gabriel did not play on that just because I think they were busy on like vacation or something. Which that doesn't count. Come on.
That's a pretty good reason. Yeah,
pretty good reason to not be there for it. But Gabriel back in here, back in the brawl for Winter Cup in Blitzen.
Oh boy. So there are 8 names left in that.
Oh yes. Oh yes, there are 8. And they could go anywhere, and I'll remind you, our next draw has Kumikid in it. Do you know what other name we haven't drawn yet?
Have we not drawn Lazy Bear?
We have not drawn Lazy Bear.
Oh, we've only jingled most of the way. There's a little left.
Yes.
All right, let's hope. Let's hope. Come on, Lazy Bear, let's do it.
Is it Lazy Bear? No, it's not. Bear Group denied. It is instead Calvin Schoolage.
Whoa.
Oh, it actually focused for once.
Oh, amazing. Yes. Calvin Schoolage, one of my fellow data heads. Love Calvin, does great work. Keeps me busy, keeps me up at night, all that stuff. Gives me a lot to work with the parsing stuff and the tools they've released so generously to the community. I'm glad to see them competing more. There's a lot of skill there potentially. Still working on the sniper, but I think at some point that's going to click and it's going to go with a very solid spy, and then they'll be very scary. And this would be a pretty good time to do it. This is a wide open group, in my opinion.
Yeah, absolutely. I would give Pofke the edge for first place in the group, but again, Catnip is upset queen, as we know, and Kuma Kid, Calvin Schoolage, and Beanie, all of them are just in there, in the mix. We got some pretty hard to predict groups so far, and I like that.
Yeah, and group stages are a little unpredictable anyway. There's some randomness to it. So even if someone is a big favorite, it's really easy to just lose one match or draw one match. Next thing you know, you're the second in the group or even fighting for your life. It doesn't take much. There's not a lot of margin.
Absolutely, especially in these groups of 5. Usually these things are groups of 4, so have to fight even harder now.
Yeah.
Now we're to Dancer again, the final participant in Dancer with David W, Clado Damage Basic, and Hunu will be. Oh, we were one off. It's Lazy Bear.
Oh, it was Lazy Bear? Okay.
It's Lazy Bear. We were one off. It's Lazy Bear going into Dancer.
I'm really mad that Slappy Davis's reserve spot didn't end up in here because I really wanted him to be in Dancer, like real bad. Anyway, Lazy Bear, David W. Wow. Okay. Well, Lazy Bear and David W. have met in these weekend tournaments like over and over again. They're 2 of the players, like along with yourself and like 3 or 4 others, who are just routinely in those final 4s, basically. So they're very familiar with each other at this point.
Yeah, absolutely. And this is another one of those groups that are just kind of wide open. And
yeah,
like Dasher, like with Pofke, I'd say that Lazy Bear is a bit of a favorite to win the group, but like I can't say that for any kind of certainty.
Yeah. Just the nature of this kind of event makes it very hard to predict like that.
And now we go into Prancer. Sped Monkey, Lower S, Paratrooper, and Cody will be joined by Iggy.
Okay, I like it. There's a lot of like solid, like intermediate level, pretty experienced players right here. I have a feeling that like almost every match in Prancer is going to be interesting.
Yeah, that would not surprise me whatsoever. And honestly, a lot of these matches in all of the groups are likely to be strongly interesting to me. I don't know how we're supposed to cast. Like, when all the matches are interesting, how do you choose which ones to cast?
Well, you could do something completely ridiculous for determining that sort of thing, like drawing it out of a hat. I mean, I don't know who would do that, but if you're desperate, if you're
Right.
really desperate and you can't come up with any good ideas like at all, you could just do that.
Yeah, like you can't when you can't code your own group draw picker.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
Royal Flush.
Yeah, you have to resort to something completely ridiculous.
Yeah, where Summer Cup goes high, we go low. Tech
Low
wise,
tech.
that is.
Yeah, there we go. So Vixen, which I think
Yes.
again currently lowest total game count, I would say, just by eyeballing it.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that is kind of just eyeballing it. That makes a lot of sense to me.
Yeah.
Just because we don't, especially since we don't have any one player who has just a bunch of games.
Right,
But
yeah.
that's
Human Kirby, the most experienced for sure, but also hasn't played a lot. More like research and more like streaming, stuff like that, as opposed to raw game count. How much that matters, that's up for each person to decide. But this could be a very interesting placement if it goes one way or the other.
we have our next slip of paper coming from the hat. And Vixen just got blown wide open because the next player in it is Turnip Boy.
Ooh. Turnip Boy to me, and I know I keep kind of saying this, like these really good players who could beat you on any given day, who do well in the tournaments. Turnip Boy for me is in that group, right? That underpromoted, like bronze level SCL kind of group, plays in almost every competitive event, always seems to do well, never seems to do badly, even if they don't always do great. Turnip Boy for me is like that, just one of the most solid players with one of the highest floors, like David W, in the game. And for that reason, I think is going to be a force in Vixen, yeah.
I can feel how many there are left in here. I can feel the remaining slips, and so
All right, we're down to 4.
as we go into Comet, I've dug out the very bottom slip. My
Don't
own
say anything
group.
yet. Let me just point out there are 4 people left and 2 big scary groups down there. Right now, if you haven't heard your name called, it's 50-50.
Oh. And our first coin flip of the night will be going into Comet. It's Toenail.
Okay.
Toenail going into Comet. With myself, Screw Loose, the Forgotten One, and Monopoly Man.
It's going to be a tough group. Good luck, Tono.
Yeah, Screw Loose is scary. You don't want to be in a group of Screw Loose.
Yeah. If your name hasn't been called now, it's 66.6 repeating %.
Yes. Everyone. So I can tell you who hasn't been called yet.
Yeah, please.
Delves, T-Flame, and DBD Kamez are
3
all
pretty experienced players. Yeah.
Yeah. Are all our remaining participants to be drawn here. I can see the slips. I can't see inside what they say because they're folded up.
Mm-hmm.
Tony L. Oh, there's
Yeah.
but into Cupid, our first of 2 groups of death goes DBD Kamez.
That's I want to see what what happens with this next one. I think if Dells goes into Donner after this, I don't know which of these I would pick as being scarier because they're loaded in different ways. But I mean, there's Jarrell, a new player, doesn't necessarily mean that much, and then just a ton of experience. It's jeez.
Yeah.
Cupid.
Yeah.
Cupid,
right.
man.
There are 2 slips left. I actually have them both in my hand right now. I'm just gonna show them. These are remaining slips. They will go back into the hat. And one last time I will draw for the Donner Party. Code Negrio, Magic Duo, and Heron.
I think what you should do is you should pick one up and then ask T-Flame or Dells, do you want me to switch? Like just give him the old let's make a deal.
All right.
Do you want me to switch or not? Come on.
I can't. Okay. I can't see into this hat. I will pick one.
Yep. Do it. Okay, so you get one in your hands, right?
I have one in my hand. There we go.
Okay.
Do you want to switch?
So who gets to pick? Is it T-Flame or Dells?
T-Flame gets to pick because he's having fun in chat right now.
T-Flame, you want to switch? Do you want him to switch?
T-Flame is asking if Dells.
He's thinking. Flip that coin, buddy. Do you want to switch or not? And if you don't answer, that means no. Deal. $1, Bob. Come on, do it.
Fine, let's do it. T-Flame says the switch.
Okay, switch. And who goes into Donner?
Who goes into Donner? This was the one that was here before. This is our new slip. Who goes into Donner? It's T-Flame.
He switched himself.
He switched him into it.
Oh, oh, oh my. Oh, the drama. Oh, that's so good. Noob, Rio, Magic Doer, Heron, and T-Flame.
And as our last undrawn player, Dell's last pick, bullied on the schoolyard.
There we go.
Goes into Blitzen with Ogleby and EX turn out 8 and Gabrielle.
Yeah, that's something. Dell's, geez, Dell's we already knew Dell's was a pretty good player, right? And then they went out in the tournament of position in
Show
SCO5.
Dell's slip rest. Hold on, I just put over with all the other slips.
Oh, that's fair. That's fair. Show us Dell's.
Where is it?
Dell's did so well in the tournament of position. Just went nuts. And I thought Dell's was pretty good already. And frankly, when you cast or host as much as Dell's did, you just pick up so much, even if you're not playing that much, right? Like you can't help but take a bit of a leap skill wise. But it manifested in the tournament position so much more than I was expecting. It was genuinely impressive. And I think it vaulted them into a new skill tier, frankly. So Blitzen indeed.
Yes. And that's all of our groups, and we want to talk about these. Oh my god, we've been talking about them all night, but there are some scary groups in here.
Yeah. So with Cupid, there's a little more variation in that you have two, like, I mean, Dowsy elite level, Max could be, and Cameraman's just been around, played so much, and just frankly scares me a little bit too. I haven't played Cameraman for a while, but we played some very close matches back in the day. I think drew me in my first SCL season, if I'm remembering right. Maybe my second as well. Donner might have as much overall skill, but it's a little more evenly distributed because you have players like Heron and T-Flame and Magic Doer who are just capable of those upsets. But boy, I don't know. It's definitely Cupid and Donner, but don't ask me to rank them, right?
Right. Yeah, and like there are so many other groups that have like just random people who could just take the entire group, just rip out everybody else's heart, stand atop a pillar of entrails and blood.
How very, very Christmassy of you.
Very Christmas.
I will. So that's the thing I love about this is like you just figure statistically one of these new players is going to shock us. Who's it going to be? I want to see who it's going to be. Who's going to be the player of the tournament? Who's going to maybe win that prize? All that stuff. But you figure statistically, it almost always happens. There's almost always some breakout star. And I can't wait to see who it is.
Yeah. Last Winter Cup, I believe we had the Calvin Schoolage as their first competitive event. It was my own first competitive event actually as well. So, yes, I organized my own first competitive. That's how much I wanted to play competitive at the time.
And then you beat me, yeah. Jeez.
I'm sorry about that track.
Yeah.
Hey, man, like.
Yeah,
I hit a green purloin and you shot the wrong person. I'm just saying.
Yeah. Well, we should definitely revisit it in excruciating detail. That's what I would like to do. So yeah, but no, look, there's a lot of new people here, and a lot of them are flying under the radar, particularly in between SCL seasons when some of us are not in the lobby as much, so maybe we don't notice how good someone's getting. And right now, one of these players is like a time bomb that's going to go off. They're armed already, and we don't know it, and they're going to blow up one of these groups.
Yeah, and that's why you can never if you're an established player who knows, okay, I'm pretty good at this game, maybe I'm not the best, but I am pretty good.
Yeah.
You can never rest because someone's always up behind you, running behind you, ready to chase you down.
Yeah, I mean, you might. It's fair, to care about experience and to say that there are favorites, and it'd be fair for an experienced player to look at their group and say, on paper, I'm the best player here. But SpyParty isn't played on paper, man. It's played by tiny little men inside computer screens.
Tiny little men and women, of course.
And yeah.
But yeah, that's the entire group draw. The entire group draw. I'm gonna put it back up on stream, on the stream, so everyone can screenshot it, do what you like with it. This will be going up on Discord later, with the bracket involved, just so everyone can know, okay, what does their group look like, where does it go, how will
Yeah.
these groups be seeded.
I have a couple guesses. I feel confident where 2 or 3 of them will be seated, and beyond that, it'll be a little trickier for
Yeah,
sure.
Cupid and Donner, perhaps, being
Yeah. I'll
being
be a little
that high
surprised if
seed.
Cupid and Donner are on the same side of the bracket. That's all I'll say. But after that,
Yeah. All right, and I think that is all we have to say this stream. What that took way less time than we expected. Track.
Yeah, no, I mean, I managed not to talk nearly as much as I often do. That's the number one reason that we kept it into about an hour. I want to thank everyone for watching, certainly. I want to thank you for organizing this, and for going out and getting that hat. You're really, really committed to the bit, man,
What?
and that makes all the difference.
Hat. Singular.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, right. No, there's just one hat.
There's
a
one
thing
hat.
for it.
There's one
Yeah,
hat.
just one
I
hat.
have one
Just
hat.
You have one hat.
I have
One hat.
one
That's all you
hat.
need. That's one hat.
I have
Yeah.
one hat.
Yeah. So the stream is still going to take an hour and a half, but the last 30 minutes will be us saying that back and forth.
Yes.
Yeah. But look, we got a really good distribution here. We got some interesting groups in that they're a little tougher, but nothing too crazy or too lopsided. And combined with the seeding aspect, I think it could be really interesting.
Seeing as we do have a little bit of time on our hands compared to what our expected time was, we have been requested from chat to give us a top 2 from each group of predictions.
Oh, but they're gonna make fools of us because we're gonna.
They are. Oh, they absolutely will. But that's part of the fun of this, isn't it?
I'm just gonna straight up refuse. I didn't agree to this. You guys can't make me. I'm gonna do some of it, but I'm going to hedge my bets on any number of occasions,
okay.
and you can't drag it out of me. Okay, so Dasher, Pofke, right? Big skill difference there. Pofke has done particularly well competitively and against high-level competition in general, although I know there are some players who sort of play to their level of competition sometimes, right? And they can hang with the best players, but they can also lose to players less experienced. So that's always a concern. But I feel pretty confident that Pofke is going to be up there. And after that, man, I just have no idea. I just don't think the skill variance is high enough after that, because we have like experienced players who don't play as much, and then you have newer players who are less experienced but maybe are playing more. And you and I have talked about that. The community at large has talked about that a lot. They've talked about which do you value more, right? Do you value experience or recent games played? Who's playing the most right now? Who's the hungriest is another way I like to think of it, because those are usually correlated. And in this case, if you don't know, stay away.
Yeah. In this case, Track, the true correct play here when asked predictions, only give them hot takes. Because you can't be blamed when hot takes go wrong. Like,
right.
Yeah. So for this group, Catnip wins it. And Pofke is second.
Well, it's hot take. I don't know how well hot takes fare in cold weather normally. We're gonna find out.
It'll certainly keep me warm.
I mean, it's plausible. I would buy it. I would buy almost any order here, other than like Pofke lower than second. I would buy almost anything here. So I think you've done the very intelligent thing, sir. I think you've said something that sounds controversial, but is actually not that risky at all. So you get all the credit and none of the blame. Well played.
Oh, come now. All right, on to Dancer.
On Dancer. I mean, I feel bad because this feels like you have a clear top 2 in terms of experience and competitive results in the past. And it's not the either or we just discussed, right? It's players who have played a lot and who play a lot in David W. and Lazy Bear. They both play more than I do, for crying out loud, like all the time, way more right now. So yeah, upsets could happen, but would you really bet on it if your life were on the line, or would you just say David W. and Lazy and call it a day?
Well, I'd say that Lazy Bear is almost certainly my first place pick, and like I can't take a hot take not putting him first right now, just because I respect Lazy Bear's spy so much. Like, a lot of people have very strong and solid snipers, but there are very few people in the community that truly have a spy that scares me, and I hate.
Right? I agree with that. Yeah, I think good spies on a deep level are rarer, and the snipers can improve quicker usually, whereas with spies, that feels more like a slow burn kind of thing. It's something that has to develop, whereas sniper almost feels like something you can cram if you really, really need to, relatively speaking, of course. It still takes a long time to get good sometimes. And I think that's a really good distinction, is that Lazy Bear has a very mature spy.
Yeah, and I guess in this case, I will go with the regular pick of David W. being second.
I mean, the results are just there. If not at the top of all these various events, just always near the top, right? So, just if they play solid, they'll be in there.
All right, on to Prancer with Spedmonkey, Laura's, Paratroopa, Cotty, and Iggy the Grifter. A Summer Cup reboot a little bit. In this group, Sans, we don't have Urand because Urand has not signed up for this tournament, but what do you think?
Cotty and Sped.
In any particular order?
I'm gonna say Cotty, number one. I don't feel confident about this at all. I almost refuse to answer, but I think Cotty really figured something out around 6 months ago, and I think the results have been there since.
Yeah, hard to say for me. I think Spedmonkey as a player is very good in clutch situations. Just generally speaking, in the high pressure scenarios, a lot of people break down. In Spedmonkey does kind of rise to the occasion a lot of the time.
Yeah.
So
it's a good way to put it. Yeah. I mean, I think if Spedmonkey plays, like they did in Summer Cup, all bets are off, certainly.
Yeah. So I think I'm gonna say that matters. That clutch factor from Spedmonkey is gonna put him first in the group, and Cotty will come second. That's my hot
That
take.
makes sense. That's once again, you said something very, very reasonable that you are framing as a big risk. Well done. Very well done. All right, Vixen. Good luck with this.
Yeah,
okay, you go first on this one, buddy.
Okay.
You go first on Vixen.
Turnip Boy is my pick for first, just because Turnip Boy did very well, got deep into Summer Cup, and has just been performing pretty admirably overall. I
love how you're trying to come up with reasons to pick Turnip Boy to win when they are, have a game count literally roughly equivalent to literally everyone else in the division combined. And you're like, oh, gee, I don't know. Just because of this or that. Maybe because they have more games than all the other people combined. Yeah, no, look, yeah, Turnip Boy, come on.
Turnip Boy, and then, I mean, like, the easy guess is Human Kirby, but, like, again, this is calling back to when you were saying which one of these new players will surprise us. And we have three of those new players in this group, so be anyone.
Yes, exactly right. This is one of the divisions, groups, whatever you want to call it. This is one of the reindeer where one of the new players could really surprise us, could really force their way into the bracket. But Kirby has been playing competitively for a little while now, and I still think that matters. Even if the results aren't there, that experience, having 2 seasons under your belt of competitive play like that, it matters. It helps. And again, it's one of those things where if you have to pick something to bet your life on, you're going to go with that experience almost every time. But this just seems like one of those divisions primed for a breakout potentially.
All right, now on to Comet. My hot take for this one is Screw Loose in first, myself in second.
Oh, I mean, look, totally reasonable. I think there's just obviously a major experience tier there from you guys to the rest. You guys are more likely to be fighting for the order of that seeding than the actual seeding. All bets are off if even one upset comes through, and that's all it takes. And it's not that weird in, again, this kind of format. It lends itself to these sorts of upsets pretty well. But barring anything crazy, yeah, you guys are going to be duking it out for that seeding, and we'll see when we actually get a look at the bracket potentially how much that's going to matter.
Yeah, absolutely. And I've always predicted myself second in these groups, I think. So
that's fair.
Gotta stick with it.
I admire it. Yeah, superstition.
All right, on to Cupid, our first group of death as we have named them. Dowsy, MacTaber Snacks, Cameron, Jerome, DBD Mez, and like, it's hard. It's one of those groups again that's very hard to say anything other than Dowsy and Max Edward Snacks in some order. Like Cameraman or DBD Mez could definitely be in there. Jarell, is probably gonna have a hard time. I don't think that it's impossible. Like nothing's impossible. They could easily be someone who's secretly just been grinding and sniping replays and watching streams and just learning and absorbing. But just odds say that Dowsy and Max Edward Snacks to me are out of the first and second
They
respectively.
they absolutely do, but just an upset maybe against Max, for example, or even a drawing Dowsy or something from Cameraman or DBD. It just doesn't seem out of the question. A Cameraman in particular, I've talked about skill variants a lot tonight. Cameraman Sniper just has these weird little spikes sometimes where he's just ridiculous as Sniper. Like I've had games against him competitively where sometimes you're playing and you're like, this is a good spy game, right? You have a good sense of what a good spy game feels like, and then you die anyway, and you're like, geez, good job, you got it. I had a couple games like that with Cameraman where I really thought I was on my way to winning, and then he just kind of pulled it out of his hat at the end. And I thought, geez, he'll just spike sometimes, and if he spikes at the right time, he's probably going to need to spike in a group like this. But it's totally plausible. But yes, of course, if you're a betting person, Dowsy and Max, certainly.
Yeah, and on to Donner, where it's again that experience gap with Pony and Rio. And I would say Rio wins the group.
Ooh, that's your hot take.
Yes, that is my hot take. That Podnoob does not win the group. There's in fact Rio who does. And while it's weird because you look at Podnoob, he did so well in SCL5, got the diamond, and is obviously a very very experienced player. Rio, while a bit more of an inconsistent player, has these just peaks of insane ability.
Yeah. All right. I'll do a conflicting hot take, and I'm going to say this in advance so that if I'm wrong, I don't look stupid. I'm just going to deliberately go the other way so that to create more drama and intrigue, you see. So I'm not going to be held accountable for being wrong. I'm going to say Magic Doer sneaks in past Rio.
Ooh.
Just to make it fun.
So I'm basing mine off the fact that Rio has these high peaks.
Mm-hmm.
But you're looking at those low lows and saying,
I mean, I'm just saying, yeah. I think so. Sometimes players are sort of on the upswing, and we don't notice until there's a well-timed competitive event to actually notice it, right? I think there's a chance that Magic Doer is sort of on the upswing, and that it will manifest itself for the first time on a large stage here, because that's sort of like when I mentioned those players as time bombs. Some of them have gotten good and we haven't noticed. You kind of get that with a lot of intermediate players too. They figure something out, and maybe there hasn't been a competitive event for a little while that they've participated in, or not one on a broad enough scale for people to notice. And then they sort of quote unquote take us by surprise, even though they've been good for a while. So I think there's a chance there.
Yeah, and Cameraman in chat saying that he's got to make top 2 just to prove me wrong, and that...
There we go.
That's
why we do this.
Yes!
That's
Get that fire in your belly, Cameraman!
Yes. I'm making all this up. None of this is serious, so don't worry about it. But if you can use it as bulletin board material, please do.
And our final group prediction will be Blitzen. And looking at it immediately, I would say Dell's potentially getting out first, but Dell's has been a little bit rusty, has not played as much, kind of burned out after SCL5, I think. And, that happens, right? But obviously Dell's a very skilled player, got into silver from Oak through the tournament of position. So, if it's a rusty Dell's that, is still on that kind of burnout mentality, I think that maybe doesn't even make top 2, but Dell's on his best day is the first place in this group, and then I would give the second place to Gabriel, just because of how much Gabriel has been playing.
Yeah, I mean maybe Dell's, yeah, probably, but beyond that, gee, I don't know. This feels like the hardest group to predict.
Yeah, it's definitely a tough one. I would say Prancer is my hardest prediction, but.
Yeah, definitely one of those two. Prancer and Blitzen, definitely the wild cards for me, and I will be watching both of them very closely.
Yeah, and that, now that we've done that, at the request of chat, is actually our entire stream. Thank you everybody for watching. This was a lot of fun. Thank you, Warning Track, for being here. I know that you've got a little bit of logistics that you had to figure out on your end.
Yeah, I don't know if you guys can believe this, but it's going to be 32 degrees, and I've got a softball game right after this, so I'm going to go bundle up and run outside like a maniac, because winter is all about softball.
Hopefully those hot takes keep you warm out there.
I'm going to need them. God, yes.
And yeah, that'll be it. These groups will be seeded by our trusted independent participant, and they will be released onto Discord Hopefully tonight, if not tomorrow. However, I will note that you can begin playing your matches tomorrow once I post the challenge. This will also be in Discord. But basically, the first match that you play, like the first match in any given, basically it goes week 1, week 2, week 3. We have 3 weeks of group stages, but there will be one match. You'll have 4 matches, so you'll have one match that you can played at any time. But the first 3 matches must be played in order on the week, unless you contact me and say, "Hey, this is like some extenuating circumstances, right?" So.
Yep. And if you need any clarification, hop onto the Discord.
Yeah,
and,
this will all be in Discord. Absolutely.
Yes, yeah, and definitely check it out in text just to be absolutely sure first.
Yep. And with that, that is everything. Thank you all so much for tuning in. I had a lot of fun. Track here, I had a lot of fun with chat. Chat, you were wonderful, wonderful. A lot of fun to look at. I was smiling the whole time, as you could tell. I've got a camera in my face now. It's kind of unusual. I usually don't cast like this.
Yeah. Oh, just one more thing. Shouldn't have switched, T-Flame.
Yeah, shouldn't have switched.
Shouldn't have switched.
Thank you all for watching. Have a nice night.